Marvin Scott III.
Huh?
Marvin Scott III.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Merritt, L-E-E-M-E-R-R-I-T-T. I'm the civil rights attorney hired by the family of Marvin Scott III for a federal investigation into the civil rights violations that we believe resulted in his death. You're going to hear from Marvin Scott's family. They did have a chance for the first time to see the video of what happened in the what happened in the Collin County facility, sheriff's facility, that resulted in Marvin's death. As you can imagine, today is very difficult for them. They will not be taking questions, but they will share briefly what that experience was like. And for the integrity of the investigation, they will not go into the facts about what happened. I will take some questions. I will share what we can. And we reassert that transparency demands that this video be made available to the public. As long as these cases are allowed to be handled in private, done by investigators who are not held accountable to the people who elect them, to the taxpayers who fund them, then there will always be an air of distrust. And if we're going to change the policing culture in Texas and the United States, then transparency is going to be key. In an effort at greater transparency, we appreciate that the medical examiner has offered a preliminary conclusion as to the cause of death of Marvin Scott III. I have an email that I believe has been sent out to all the media sources, but I will read it verbatim as it was received by my office, and then I will share the same with you all. Collin County's medical examiner announced today the cause and manner of death for Marvin Scott, who died while in custody at the county jail on March 14, 2021. Dr. William Rohr released his findings that shows Mr. Scott's cause of death was fatal acute stress response, as an individual with previously diagnosed schizophrenia during a restraint struggle with law enforcement. The manner of death is listed as homicide. Today, what we saw in almost 5 hours of video of Marvin's last moments was repeated opportunities for our higher professionals, for legal professionals, to engage with one of the most vulnerable members of our community, someone suffering from a disability, in a way that they were aware of, in a way that Allen Police Department was aware that Marvin Scott was clearly in a schizophrenic episode, a manic episode, that the Allen Presbyterian Hospital was clearly aware and had medical records to reflect that Marvin Scott was in a schizophrenic episode and needed mental health, acute mental health care help. He needs to be taken to a mental health care facility. The Allen PD failed Marvin Scott and his family. Allen Presbyterian Hospital failed Marvin Scott and his family. The Collin County jail facility was aware, had records, had access to, and were able to see clearly that Marvin Scott was in mental health distress. There were clear, open signs that even the untrained eye could have observed that Marvin Scott needed help. Instead, he received brutality. Instead, he was maced. He was assaulted. He was restrained. He was treated as someone who was being criminally non-compliant, not as someone in need of desperate help. And as a result of their failure to act, as a result of their failure to take steps that they were trained to take when someone's in mental health distress, Marvin Scott was killed in police custody. And we believe that he was killed not only despite the fact that he was schizophrenic, Marvin Scott was killed because he was schizophrenic. and suffering a mental health episode. And as a result, we demand that Greg Willis and his office issue arrest warrants for all the men involved immediately. The standard for arrest at this point in the investigation is probable cause that a crime was committed. We have a medical examiner determining that it was homicide. The cause of death we know now on a factual basis was homicide. The question is, was their conduct criminal? At any point did they engage in criminal negligence? The various levels of mental culpability be what they may. What these men did in failing to respond properly to this mental health distress and using violence as opposed to the medically approved responses to someone in crisis was a criminal act. These men felt disregard of their training, of the best practices, and that the assault on Marvin Scott, again because of his schizophrenic condition, was a crime. That's more than enough probable cause for District Attorney Greg Willis to issue arrest warrants for these men.
Yes.
Mr. Willis' office has been professional. They've been polite, but we haven't asked them to be either professional or polite. We've asked them to do what is right according to the law. To afford this family due process, the same due process that all citizens demand, that the law demands, that the Constitution demands for victims. We need arrests to be made immediately, and we expect a full and thorough presentation to the grand jury at the earliest possible time, so that the grand jury can formally indict these men. We expect full prosecutions. We expect these men to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The next person that you will hear from is Lysandra Scott, Marvin's mother. She'll be joined by Marvin Scott Jr., Marvin's father, and his brother, Quentin, and his sister, Lachette. I'm asking that all four of you all into the microphone at the same time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lysandra Scott, L-A-S-A-N-D-R-A Scott, the mother of Marvin Scott III. What we seen today was horrific, inhumane, very disheartening. And we want these individuals arrested immediately. And that's all I have to say.
When I was watching this, I felt like I wanted to be there, or it's too late. And we ask for justice, because at this point, that's all we can ask for.
My name is Marvin Scott Jr. I'm Marvin B. Scott III's father. I just want to say today was a very, very difficult day. I can say that for sure. After reviewing the video, it took a while to review it. I feel that justice has to be served. It has to be.
Yes.
I feel that the officers involved have to be arrested. That's what I feel. I feel that way. We demand that.
Yes.
And let's hope that this is sooner than later. That's what I would say.
I want to thank the members of the community who have stood by the family of Marvin Scott for the past 45 days. Say his name.
Marvin Scott III!
Say his name.
Marvin Scott III!
The community standing with the family of Marvin Scott, standing outside of this courtroom, standing outside of the jail, has strengthened this family and encouraged their resolve, and is pushing this community towards justice. We take our hats off to you and thank you all so much. I want to thank the NAACP who has continued to support, stand with, and advocate on behalf of this family. and we are going to continue to push. We are out of patience.
Yes.
We don't have any
Yes.
patience.
Arrest them now.
We demand justice.
Right now.
We will briefly take questions.
To date, have you guys received the names of the officers who were involved at all?
The names of the officers have not been released. We have put in requests, formal legal requests to the Collin County officials for the release of their names and images. To be clear, we believe that the release of their names and images are essential in order to complete a full and thorough investigation. A key point in what these men are charged with is what they knew, what their training was, and what their experiences was in the past. And so if there are members of the Collin County community who have seen these men before, that's why their images need to be released, and who have had negative experience with them, we need that evidence. We also need a copy of their files. That has been denied not only by Collin County, but a request went up to the Attorney General's office, and the Attorney General has failed to respond to demand the release of this evidence. And it has been the pattern of the Texas Attorney General to side on the side of law enforcement in blocking the release of both names, images, and video content.
What can you tell us in terms of the nature? What can you tell us in terms of the nature of the video, and how heavy was it in that room? Speak to the emotions inside that room, and also, sorry, this is a three-part question, but are we talking about video from the time in the mall, from Allen Police to the hospital? Where was the video taken?
So the video that we viewed today, and we will come back because the video has not been released to us, we can only see it in the presence of the prosecutor. The video that we reviewed today was all in the Collin County facility. The video shows Marvin clearly expressing that he was in distress. The video shows signs that any neutral observer could see that this person was rapidly deteriorating and needed help. And instead of responding with medical professionals, instead of helping Marvin to a facility that would be able to treat him, he was brutalized, he was maced, he was restrained physically. Several officers kneeled on top of him. We cannot hear what he is saying. There's no audio captured in that video, and that's disappointing, and so it will come down to what those witness statements are. I don't know if I missed the third part of your question.
What was it like in that room?
It was emotionally draining in the room for myself, but more importantly for the family of Marvin Scott. His mother is a nurse. You don't have to be a nurse to know what was going on was inappropriate, but to have that training and to know what these men were supposed to do, and to sit there helplessly while you watch several men that you pay for with your taxes kill your son. She has power beyond what I can fathom, and I salute her strength, and I salute this family's strength. But it was a very difficult day.
Y'all have been asked what charges you think are appropriate, and the answer before was you didn't know because you hadn't seen what roles they played. But now that you have, you're a lawyer. Which charges do you think are appropriate in the jails?
The appropriate charge in this case is some level of homicide. What level of homicide will come down to what these men knew. There was certainly reckless indifference. There was certainly negligence. The question of intentionality has not been resolved. If there was an intention, certainly there were intentional acts. Whether or not these officers should have known would result in Marvin's death is still to be determined by the evidence. And we haven't had a chance to even know these officers' names, let alone what they knew.
After seeing the video, are you even more surprised that one of these officers was able to get their job back through an appeals process?
Marvin was in custody for at least 10 hours, and during these 10 hours, he was rapidly deteriorating. During that time, he was repeatedly restrained. There's video of him in the Allen Police Department where he was restrained. It was a combination of those restraints, according to the medical examiner, that resulted in his death, not just the restraints that we saw. I say all that to say is we don't know who this officer was who was reinstated. We still don't have his name. We don't know what role he played. In the Tarrant County facility, what we saw was 6 officers engaging Marvin. I'm sorry, I apologize. In the Collin County facility, what we saw was 6 officers engaging Marvin. 7 officers were terminated, 1 resigned. Which person played which role is still a big mystery to us.
To be clearly, there was an agreement that you could not record the video. Is there any video that you have on your cell phone, or did the Texas Rangers or law enforcement prevent you from recording or potentially releasing the video on your own today?
Oh, I think it would be reckless for us to sort of record and report. There is a proper way for these videos to be released. It is incumbent upon the Attorney General's office to uphold Texas's commitment to transparency for families and to protect the civil rights of this family. Where the Attorney General has failed to do that, where local officials have refused to do that, then we will continue to pursue legal avenues of recovering the video. But no, we didn't sort of surreptitiously record the video, and we don't have anything to share in that regard.
A real quick follow-up. To be clear, you want 8 homicide charges, 1 for each of the officers involved?
I can't tell you how many. I can tell you how many officers I saw engaging on this limited video that we saw today in the Collin County facility. And so no, I couldn't quantify how many charges. I know I saw at least 6 today.
Will you ask the Department of Justice, United States Department of Justice, to look into this, or are you going to do that later?
Certainly, we believe that the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, should be a part of this investigation. It's our understanding that they've already been coordinating with the Texas Rangers. We have not put in a formal request that they become involved because federal review can sometimes slow down the process, and we think that accountability can and should be had at a local level first. All right, thank you all so much for your time.
Marvin Scott III. Marvin Scott III.
Marvin Scott III. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. Say his name.
Marvin Scott III.
Say his name.
Marvin Scott III.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice. No peace. If we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
say his name.
Marvin Scott III.
Say his name.
Marvin Scott III.
Arrest the who?
Collin County 8.
Arrest the who?
The Collin County 8.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
Release their names in the video. Now. In the video. We want justice. Now. We waited 45 days. We want peaceful. Yes. Peaceful protest. 45 days. 45 days. That peacefulness is coming to an end quick. Yes. We tired. We fed up. We hurt. We want justice for Marvin now. So arrest the officers now. We can't be peaceful without the officers. Right. Arrest them now. No justice. No peace. Homicide. Yes.
Homicide. 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 Homicide.
Mama, mama, can't you see?
Mama, mama, can't you see
What the system's done to me?
what the system's done to me?
They locked us up, they put us down.
They locked us up, they put us down.
There ain't no justice in this town.
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 Papa, Papa, don't you cry.
Papa, Papa, don't you cry.
Today is not my day to die.
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 Say his name.
Marvin Scott III.
Say his name.
Marvin Scott III.